Prepare yourself. Benadryl Cabbage Patch comes for you. We're on the Plaque of Sotek today, playing the High Elves against the Beastmen in a matchup I don't see very often, and frankly don't play very often. And as the Azure, I think it's one where you want to go heavy on the speed and single entities, because if you choose to play the static shield wall and archer game, you're just going to get swarmed. So skip the archers and recruit some Pokemon. That's where Articuno comes in. Frostheart Phoenixes are tanky, they cause terror, and they're absolutely gorgeous. But definitely some big threats coming out of Zach B. Sane and the Bray Herds of Khazrak One Eye. Gorebulls, Bray Shamans, Razorgore Chariots, the Scourge of the Drakworld has come, backed up by the Sons of Ghorros. An entire Beastmen army, Vanguard deployed right in our face at the very start of the match, so things are going to get spicy real quick. So for the High Elves, a lot of cavalry and self-sufficient infantry. 3 White Lions, they're going to be pretty useful against the Chaff. Clear those off the field quickly. 3 Lothran Seaguard without shields. Don't really need shields in this matchup. 2 Illyrian Reaver Archers in the back, which are very good here because they can actually escape from enemy fast movers, and the Beastmen are lightly armored, and a sizable contingent of heavy cav. 2 Silver Helms and the Dragon Princes of Kalador. One of my favorite units in Warhammer. Adore their aesthetic and their playstyle. They are powerful heavy cav. The High Lore Master Bandicoot Thundersnatch is my lord for this one. Net of Amontok, Flaming Sword of Ruin, Regrowth, and the Potion of Shiroi. Pretty standard fare there. Can snare enemy fast movers, heal at my Phoenix, and generally brings a lot of utility to the battlefield. And over on the left flank flies my beautiful Frostheart Phoenix. Now on paper, they don't synergize particularly well with Teclis because of their passive ward save, which will disappear when you use a bunch of Winds of Magic. But 1 regrowth gives you more effective HP than a 12% ward save ever will, so at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. Really bringing it for the terror, the gooning, and that Blizzard Aura, which lowers melee attack and AP for any nearby enemies. Go Articuno! Hoping he can carry me in this one. He has a very important role to play. For the Beastmen, about what you would expect from a Bray Herd trying to counter the High Elves. A lot of Centigors, a lot of cheap shielded infantry, spreading the field, going full vanguard, and the Sons of Ghorros for helping in the cav fight. They can cut through Dragon Prince's physical resist, and their Guardian Aura will be very useful for the 3 lords and heroes on the field. There's Khazrak One Eye on his Razorgore Chariot, well over 100 charge bonus. Feel like I really see him not reach over 100 kills. He's a scary beast, and he can vanguard with his army. Makes him super cool. There's a Gorebull with Axe of Men for terror and unbreakable, and a Bray Shaman with Viletide, Traitorkin, and Mantle of Gorok. So an eclectic mix for the Beastmen here, and because they're Vanguard deployed right in my face, there isn't going to be a lot of room for me to maneuver, which is kind of what you want as the Beastmen, because you want to shut down their archers, their range play, right at the start of the match, not give their heavy cav a lot of time to flank or maneuver, and that's pretty good. So what you're going to see at the start of this match is actually me making a mistake. I probably should already be firing into those Ungor Raiders just to get them off the field. I think it would only take 1 volley from each of my 3 Lothran Seaguard to put them into the trash can. Instead, I'm firing into the shielded troops. Now, I do want those meat shields gone, or at least down to like half HP, so a frontal charge from like Dragon Princes would get them off the field right away, but probably would have been worth it to just take those Ungor Raiders off the field immediately, not shooting into them. They don't have shields, probably should have. So you can see the heavy cav is already getting aggressive, thinking about going for a frontal charge. The Ungor meat shield, despite their shields, are already about to rout from the field, and the Dragon Princes of Kalador and the Articuno going right in to goon on top of that Bray Shaman. You'll see as Viletide goes off, dropping a net of Amontok on that Wildscaster, and making sure that he cannot escape. And the Frostheart Phoenix, it won't take more than a couple attacks to get him real low and maybe running and getting him terrified. So that net, pretty good one, making sure he can't escape. If I can eliminate the casting for the Beastmen, that would be a huge blow to the Bray Herds early on, and a big win for the High Elves. Lothran Seaguard are melting under that assault from the Gorebull and the double chariot play, though. Khazrak One Eye, his charge bonus, and the Razorgore in general is just obscene. The damage he does to even spears from the front is crazy, and the White Lions are going to work. Now, there are no Bestigors for them to chunk into. That's really the trade I would love to have. That's where they're really going to shine when they're fighting into Bestigors. They'll trade upwards into them very nicely with their AP and their martial prowess. But at the end of the day, they are going to be able to beat up on Ungor Herd, get them off the field relatively quickly, and then we'll be able to use our mobility to hopefully shut down the high value stuff for the Beastmen. Dragon Prince is escaping, they did some good damage, and you see the Brave Shaman already got terrified. Centigor is chasing after us, but over on this side, catching the Beastmen with their pants down, the Chaos Warhounds with poison, they were not paying attention. They got caught sleeping, and they're going to get charged frontally by a bunch of Silver Helms and rout from the field because they are right shoved up against the white line. And those Centigors didn't get their charge bonus off either, so Silver Helms should be able to beat them in prolonged combat. Over on this side, looks like the Beastmen left flank is about to break. Dragon Princes and Silver Helms teaming up to deal with those Centigors, and the Ungor herd will break as the white lines push through. Definitely doing well, but a Traitorkin hitting everything. Both Cav units and the white lines as well, slowing them down. Looks like the Silver Helms are down to half HP and getting destroyed by that spell. Brave Shaman very low, but the Frostheart Phoenix is in a very precarious position. Now, this is a situation where you really don't want your Frostheart Phoenix to be. Gorebull beating up on him, Sons of Ghorros right there as well. It's gonna hurt. So, need to free him up, and the best way to do that is focus fire with the Illyrian Reaver Archers and the Lothran Seaguard. Get rid of those Sons of Ghorros, because they are what is pinning that Frostheart Phoenix in place. But look at that. That was brutal. Flaming Sword of Ruin went down to help the Cav deal more damage to those Sons of Ghorros, and Khazrak, who has that physical resist from the Guardian Aura from the Sons of Ghorros. But the Frostheart Phoenix did rout. Took a lot of damage there. Regrowth going to be the only way to get him back into that fight. Silver Helms getting surrounded by spears on the left flank. And nice focus fire coming in from the Lothran Seaguard and Illyrian Reaver Archers in the center. But immediately it feels like everything just broke at once on both sides. Both factions are relatively fragile. High Elves especially when they lose their martial prowess. But the Dragon Princes, they never are. I mean, when they get into the Ungor herd, they're going to dominate them. They might be spears, but it doesn't matter. They can frontal charge them all day long, and that's going to be a rout and a ton of kills going their way. Padding their stats, they're pretty hurt after all that fighting with the Beastmen HQ in the center. And the Brave Shaman of the Lord of the Wilds, you've come to the wrong neighborhood, Mother Licka. He moved a little bit too far forward, got isolated, got Nen of Amontok, and now it's just a firing line. And you're going to be a pincushion after that one. And the caster is off the field. No more winds of magic for you. But now it's the white line's turn to get beat the hell up. Gorebulls and Sons of Ghorros teaming up on them. And am I wrong? And then I want to see some of this in Troy. Minotaurs and Centaurs just destroying lines of infantry. That's pretty cool. And so is Khazrak the One Eye busting through a shield wall phalanx from the Lothran Seaguard. It's not a shield wall because they don't have shields, but they're going to get their heads chopped off. And Khazrak the One Eye is just going to carve a path of destruction through them alongside the somersaulting Gorebull. And yeah, death will come to the Azure lines. Their infantry is getting destroyed while the Dragon Princes finish off the Centigors out on the flank. And that's an important point because these fast movers need to die. They can continuously charge Lothran Seaguard from flanks that they can't protect themselves from. You want them focusing forward, and when they're not shooting, they're not really getting the value you want out of them. And so the Centigors are now dead with the help of the Frostheart Phoenix, who got a bunch of kills on those Cavalry. But things are getting a little bit iffy because all of the infantry is breaking. All those white lines that were pretty much full HP after destroying those Ungors got dumpstered by Khazrak One Eye and the Gorebull team up alongside those charges from the Sons of Ghorros, and it's hurting a lot. Even the Gorebull is getting on top of the Illyrian Reaver Archers, who are not on skirmish mode. They are now going to pull them back and retreat to a safe distance, but starting to run low on ammunition, and that's going to hurt because the Gorebull is a little bit past half HP, and Khazrak is looking pretty healthy right now. So the Dragon Princes, for their part, they're going to look for the easy kills. Get rid of the Gore Herd, get rid of the Ungor Raiders, get rid of all this chaff so that we can then isolate and focus down the Gorebull and Khazrak One Eye. And we can play the kite game for a little bit longer, waiting for that Frostheart Phoenix to heal up. Gonna throw another regrowth his way, but he'll hit that healing cap quite soon, which is not ideal. And I think that the Frostheart Phoenix and Dragons in general are a very good pick in this particular matchup, but it is always risky because the Beastmen are just so fast and they have some really good tools like the Gorebull, like the Sons of Ghorros, that prevent you from ever taking off again. So if you land at an inopportune time, you can lose a 2,000 gold monster quite easily And when that happens, a lot of times you just can't come back. So the Beastmen, despite being kind of fragile, they hit like a truck, and they're super fast, as you well know. Khazrak One Eye just gonna bound right through those white lines like they're not even there. Dragon Princes, not really in the right spot. I wanted to get rid of those Ungor Spearmen, but with the Gorebull in support, I'm gonna realize, okay, that's probably not the correct fight. Cycle charge and escape probably took a little bit too much damage there. Lyrian Reavers gonna go straight for those Ungor Raiders and charge right into them. And you can see the mass on those is real tiny. Barely any of those low tier infantry went flying. If those were Dragon Princes, the entire regiment would have just gotten shattered off the impact of that charge. But the Gorebull doing what he does best, chopping, cleaving his way through a bunch of light cav. Frostheart Phoenix gets in, and Al Gorebull going for a ride on the Funky Town train. And that's hilarious. Every time he gets hit by something with higher mass than himself, he's going to go flying. And yeah, his mass issues haven't been completely resolved. I would say that the Gorebull and Frostheart Phoenix are probably pretty close to the same size. Gorebull, definitely a chunkier lad, but not quite as large as the Frostheart Phoenix is. I'd say that the Gorebull probably weighs quite a bit more. So him getting tossed around by that probably doesn't make that much sense. Nice charge coming in from the Silver Helms on that Ungor Raider. And Khazrak One Eye continues to destroy my poor White Lions, who started out the game oh so well. And then as soon as the elite Beastmen stuff got into them, they got pooped on. But they did their job, and they put me in a pretty decent spot to carry into the late game here. The balance bar says it's in the favor of moi, but as the Frostheart Phoenix continues to dive in on top of that Gorebull and toss him around a bit, things are pretty precarious for both players. It's all about Articuno now. It's all about Teclis. The Cavalry is pretty much done. The Infantry is pretty much off the field. It comes down to the command centers for both armies going at a big duel. And whoever wins that is going to win the game. Flaming Sword of Ruin will make things hit harder, but this is a situation where magical attacks don't really matter. There's no physical resist to side through. The Sons of Ghorros are long gone. And I think Enfeebling Foe at this point would be a much more effective spell to have. So, I don't know. I don't think Flaming Sword of Ruin was necessarily the wrong call, because there was the Guardian Aura to worry about. But in this situation, in a dueling situation between the Frostheart, which is getting really kind of scythed apart by the Axe of Men that Gorebull is wielding, it's kind of a problem that I don't have some way to lower the melee attack and melee defense of these monsters. But a nice charge coming in from the flank from that Frostheart will finally work its way through the Axe of Men. We'll get rid of the Unbreakable. Gorebull will rout, and if Teclis can get around the flank and chase him off the map, it might just be enough to seal the deal. But Khazrak has been beasting it up. Dragon Prince is heroically charging in from the flank as well, and the boys in blue are gonna goon up on him and try to strike that killing blow. Khazrak will have that -9 melee attack aura around him because of the Blizzard aura, and Teclis chasing after that Gorebull, making sure he does not come back to the fight. And yes, barely, the High Elves are going to take the field as Khazrak One Eye runs for the hills. But I don't think there's anything he should be ashamed of. 178 kills, most of those coming on Lothern Seaguard and White Lions. That is paying for yourself many times over. And he was a beast that game. That Razorgore Chariot, I'm not kidding you. Every time I see Khazrak atop that thing, it is incredibly rare. I don't see him over 150 kills. He just destroys infantry. He mulches it better than most lords in the game. Now, to be fair, a regular beast lord on a chariot can do roughly the same thing, but doesn't have the Scourge, doesn't have the +26 melee attack, +27 melee defense buff, doesn't have the poison. There are things that Khazrak One Eye and the Vanguard, being able to Vanguard with your army, kind of a big deal. So yeah, I think Khazrak was a good pick here, especially with the build that he went for, and it was a nice army overall. And I must say, the first time we played this match, we played it twice. In the first game, Zach killed my Frostheart Phoenix and completely caught me with my pants down right at the start of the match, like 30 seconds in, and I'm not kidding you, I lost about 3,000, 4,000 worth of gold in the first minute and a half of the game, and I was like, alright, I'm just conceding, this is over, like, I can't win. And so I was like, let's maybe play that one again and get a bit of a closer game, one that's worthy of a full replay. We got one here, but that's kind of what the Beastmen do, right? When they win convincingly. It's one of those things where they get right up in your face, punch you in the mouth. If you're able to weather the storm and get into the later stages of a battle, you have a much better chance. But if you lose your elites right at the start, and they're very good at isolating that with all their speed. Then you can be in huge trouble. And so if you lose your Frostheart Phoenix in the first 30 seconds of the game, you're probably going to be in pretty big trouble. And that almost happened in this one. Centigor got right on top of him. The Goon Squad almost took it down, but the regrowth from Teclis got him back into the fight. Dragon Princes were amazing that game. 172 kills. They're just so much fun to use. And the White Lions, 139 kills, 90 kills. They definitely did what I needed them to do, which was clear up the chaff and give my Articuno and my DP some more space to do what they wanted to do. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.